he was following the money supply. In 2007, the money supply had stopped growing. And that's really the key. There's a number of other things to pay attention to, but that was really the key. And Agora fired him because he lost most of his subscribers. They all wanted to buy gold stocks in 2007. They're all getting carried away and all that sort of stuff. So they fired him. So I found him 2 years ago and I said, you were right during the tech bubble. You were right during the last major collapse of gold stocks. Will you come and be our analyst for my newsletter? And he was like so sheepish. He was like, no one wants to work with me, you know. I get fired from all my jobs. Because he's always right, but no one ever really wants to know the truth. So that's what he's been doing. So he recommended gold stocks all the way down, and especially at the bottom. He was recommending gold stocks like crazy in 2009. A lot of those gold stocks have gone up 100 to 200% since then. And just so you know, he actually doesn't think this year at all. A lot of people are talking, oh, we're going to have another 2008. I think the chances of another 2008 right now is almost zero. And there's a number of reasons for that. And the money supply right now is increasing at well over 10% in all the Western countries. In 2007, it was almost down to 0% money supply growth. And so we're not expecting any sort of collapse at all. And in fact, we're buying right now like crazy the juniors. And I think this year is going to be an amazing year to be buying juniors. If you have cash, buy some of these gold juniors. We'll talk about some of them to buy. I asked Ed to give us a few stocks that he likes. This is one called Amarillo Gold, AGC, on the Vancouver. They're in Brazil. This is a chart of them. So all these charts are down over the last year. A lot of these stocks have been hurt a lot over the last year. They're an emerging producer in Brazil. He really likes this one. It's following up on a discovery they had at their Laras do Sul gold project. And it's actually headed up by a guy who led the team at Kennecott when they discovered the diamond deposits in Northwest Territories. So it's a very good management team. Very cheap stock, you know, going back to their chart. I think they're down from there. I think they're 70 cents or something right now. They're quite a bit down. So that's one that I think is a good buy right now. Although they may have to do a financing here. And really, if you have the opportunity to buy into financings right now, I think that's the way to go. You get a warrant and things like that. I don't have time to talk about that right now, but we talk about that in our newsletter. This is another one, Eurasian Minerals. It's KSXV, EMX. This is a great one because, well, here's a chart. They actually haven't been too hurt, and that's because they have almost no expenses. They have almost 100 projects, and almost all of them are paid for by other people. So they're a project generator. And they have, like I said, 100 properties around the world. 25 of them are in active joint ventures at the moment. Other people are paying for them. So they're really not in a really tough situation at all on a cash flow basis right now. They have a market cap of about 150 million. They have about 50 million in cash, no debt. So that's an excellent one. That's actually one of the safer ones. If you're scared of juniors, I would say, like to my grandmother or someone who, you know, never put 100% of your money in any of these stocks, obviously. But if you're looking for junior stocks, this is probably one of the safer ones. Finally, Premium. This is a true exploration stock, so this is not for your grandmother, unless she's wild and crazy and likes to gamble. But they've been hurt a lot. They were at 80 cents about a year ago. They're around 15 cents right now. They're actually developing a complete new mining district in Idaho right now, putting it all together. They're just doing another financing right now. If you can get into that financing, I recommend it. I think they're close to closing it though. But you can buy it in the market for the same amount, about 15 cents. That's a real exploration one. We have another newsletter we started a few months ago called The Golden Trader. And this is a guy I knew who is an amazing trader. I met him around 2009, actually in Acapulco. I live in Mexico, and he was down there. He was living there as well. And I met him at a bar, and he told me about this stock. And he said, hey, buy the stock. And I don't buy stocks that people tell me at bars, but I watched it, and it went up like 100% in a few months. And so I saw him again about a month later. I said, hey, that was pretty good. He gave me another one. It was up about 50% in about 2 months again. I said, who is this guy? So I've been following him for years, and finally we got the opportunity to start a newsletter with him. So this is the Golden Trader. It's tdbgoldentrader.com. He's more trading based, so Ed is a lot more longer term hold. Ed will recommend a stock that he'll expect to hold for a couple of years. Then he will invest in stocks for a couple of years, but he'll also look to trade in and out of them. So I asked Vin to give us a couple stocks. And this is one he loves. And actually, the more I hear about it, the more I learn about it, the more I like this one too. It's called Sandstorm Gold. Highly recommend you look into this one. It's on the Vancouver Stock Exchange, SLL. And they're another company that has really no expenses. They're a non-operating company that is a pure gold streaming company, sort of like Silver Wheaton does. They invest in basically the producing mines, and they get valuations, and they get money from those. So they're basically like almost an investment bank of gold mining companies. It's excellent. I definitely think people should look at that one. And finally, Silvercrest. If you like silver, I like silver a lot. I invest mostly in gold, but I like silver also. And Silvercrest is SVL on the Vancouver. This is the other one that Vin likes a lot at the moment. It's in Mexico. It's a precious metals producer. And he's recommending right now to buy if there's additional weakness, especially under $2. He says if it gets to $1.50, back up the truck on that one. So those are some of the stocks that Vin likes. Oh, sorry, there's one more. Volta Resources. This is on the TSX, VTR. Vin's been talking about this for a couple of years. He really likes this one as well. They've recently updated their 43101. They have measured and indicated resources of 4 million ounces and strong resource base and exploration potential for 2012. They did a financing in August 2011 of $40 million. So this is a company that is well cashed up, strong balance sheet, and very undervalued gold assets right now. So actually all these stocks are good buys right now. If you have cash right now and you're looking to buy any of these stocks, you really can't go wrong over the next year or two, unless something really crazy happens. But in general, we would like a lot of those stocks. Now there's one thing I want to mention. I mentioned in the panel I was on this morning that a lot of people don't realize that when you buy these stocks and you hold them in your brokerage account, the broker actually doesn't register the shares in your name. They register it in something called street form. And they do that because it's a lot easier for them. It's a lot cheaper for them. They don't have to go through a lot of work. But the problem is, if your brokerage, whatever brokerage it is, and any broker could go bankrupt over the next few years. A lot of them are invested in really strange things. And you know, MF Global was really what made us write this report. MF Global went under in late October of last year. Many people lost billions and billions of dollars with that brokerage. And if you actually registered your shares, you wouldn't have lost money. But if you don't register your shares, those shares are actually considered their assets. So if they go bankrupt, if your brokerage goes bankrupt, they're considered their assets. They're not your assets. So if you're going to own any of these shares that I've been talking about, or any other shares, any stocks at all, and you have a plan to hold it for more than a year or two, you might want to look into registering your shares to make sure they're in your name. And this is a report we wrote. It's called Bulletproof Shares, and it's actually available for $45 at tdv.bulletproofshares.com, or it's free for our subscribers. These are the sort of stuff that we're always talking about in our newsletter. We're probably the only newsletter that's really focused on getting through this monetary system collapse that we're going to have in the next few years. So we're always looking at these sort of ways to protect yourself over the next couple of years. Make sure you can get through this. I think the next couple of years is going to be the most dangerous, but also possibly the most profit potential years. But it's going to be very dangerous. There's a lot of landmines out there. Governments are going to be trying to take away your assets. Brokerages are going to be collapsing. You have to be really smart. And your financial advisor, especially your government financial advisor, is not going to tell you a lot of these things. So that's our newsletter, $vigilante.com. It's only $15 a month, or $25 a month if you want Ed Bugos' stock recommendations. And if you like Vin's, it's a golden trader. If you're more of a trader, you want to get in and out. And actually, I think for the next year or two, I think that's a great way to play this market, is to trade it a little bit. I think we're going to have quite a bit of volatility. His is only $20 a month, or $200 a year. And that's basically it. So really, because of this guy, we really are guaranteed of probably a gold stock mania. The price of precious metals are going to continue to increase. And we're basically guaranteed a profit if we play it properly. But you just have to be very careful over the next few years.